From around the globe, it's theCUBE, covering Space and Cybersecurity Symposium 2020, hosted by Cal Poly.
Hello and welcome back to theCUBE virtual coverage with Cal Poly for the Space and Cybersecurity Symposium. Day 4 and the wrap-up session, keynote session with the Lieutenant Governor of California, Eleni Kounalakis. She's here to deliver her keynote speech on the topic of California's role in supporting America's cybersecurity future. Eleni, take it away.
Thank you, John, for the introduction. I am Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis. It is an honor to be part of Cal Poly's Space and Cybersecurity Symposium. As I speak, Keynote Pereira with the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development is available on the chat ready to answer any questions you might have. California, and indeed the world, are facing significant challenges right now. Every day, we are faced with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the economic downturn that has ensued. We have flattened the curve in California and are moving in the right direction, but it is clear that we are not out of the woods yet. It is also impossible right now to escape the reality of climate change, from the fires sparked by exceptionally rare dry lightning events to extreme heat waves threatening public health and putting a strain on our electricity grid. We see that climate change is here now. And of course, we've been recently confronted with a series of brutal examples of institutionalized racism that have created an awakening among people of all walks of life and compelled us into the streets to march and protest. In the context of all this, we cannot forget that we continue to be faced with other less visible, but still very serious challenges. Cybersecurity threats are one of these. We have seen cities, companies, and individuals paralyzed by attacks, costing time and money and creating an atmosphere of uncertainty and insecurity. Our state agencies, local governments, police departments, utilities, news outlets, and private companies from all industries are targets. The threats around cybersecurity are serious, but not unlike all the challenges we face in California, we have the tools and fortitude to address them. That is why this symposium is so important. Thank you, Cal Poly, and all the participants for being here and for the important contributions you bring to this conference. I'd like to also say a few words about California's role in America's future in space. California has been at the forefront of the aerospace industry for more than a century. Through all the major innovations in aerospace, from wooden aircraft to World War II bombers to rockets and Mars rovers, California has played a pivotal role. Today, California is the #1 state in total defense spending, defense contract spending, and total number of personnel. It is estimated the aerospace and defense industry provides $168 billion in economic impact to our state. And America's best trained and most experienced aerospace and technology workforce lives here in California. The fact that the aerospace and defense sector has had a strong history in California is no accident. California has always had a strong innovation ecosystem and robust infrastructure that puts many sectors in a position to thrive. Of course, a big part of that infrastructure is a skilled workforce, and at the foundation of a skilled workforce is education. California has the strongest system of public higher education in the world. We are home to 10 University of California campuses, 23 California State University campuses, and 116 California community colleges. All told, nearly 3 million students are enrolled in public higher education. We also have world-renowned private universities, including the California Institute of Technology and Stanford University, numbers 1 and 3 in the country for aerospace engineering. California also has 4 national laboratories and several NASA facilities. California possesses a strong spirit of innovation, risk-taking, and entrepreneurship. Half of all venture capital funding in the United States goes to companies here in California. Lastly, but certainly no less critical to our success, California is a diverse state. 27% of all Californians are foreign-born, 27%. More than 1 in 4 of our population of 40 million people are immigrants from another country, Europe, Central and South America, India, Asia, everywhere. Our rich cultural diversity is our strength and helps drive our economy. As I look to the future of industries like cybersecurity and the growing commercial space industry, I know our state will need to work with those industries to make sure we continue to train our workforce for the demands of an evolving industry. The Office of the Lieutenant Governor has a unique perspective on higher education and workforce development. I'm on the UC Board of Regents, the CSU Board of Trustees, and as of about 2 weeks ago, the Community College Board of Governors. The Office of the Lieutenant Governor is now the only office that is a member of every governing board overseeing our public higher education system. Earlier in the symposium, we heard a rich discussion with Undersecretary Stuart Knox from the California Labor and Workforce Development Agency about what the state is doing to meet the needs of space and cybersecurity industries. As he mentioned, there are over 37,000 job vacancies in cybersecurity in our state. We need to address that gap. To do so, I see an important role for public-private partnerships. We need input from industry and curricula development. Some companies, like Lockheed Martin, have very productive partnerships with universities and community colleges that train students with skills they need to enter aerospace and cyber industries. That type of collaboration will be key. We also need help from the industry to make sure students know that fields like cybersecurity even exist. People's early career interests are so often shaped by the jobs that members of their family have or what they see in popular culture. With such a young and evolving field like cybersecurity, many students are unaware of the job opportunities. I know from my visits to university campuses that students are hungry for STEM career paths where they see opportunities for good-paying jobs. When I spoke with students at UC Merced, many of them were first-generation college students who went through community college system before enrolling in a UC, and they gravitated to STEM majors. With so many job opportunities available to STEM students, cybersecurity ought to be one that they are aware of and consider. Since this symposium is being hosted by Cal Poly, I wanted to highlight the tremendous work they are doing as leaders in this space and cybersecurity industry. Cal Poly's California Cybersecurity Institute does incredible work bringing together academia, industry, and government, training the next generation of cyber experts, and researching emerging cybersecurity issues. As we heard from the president of Cal Poly, Jeff Armstrong, the university is in the perfect location to contribute to a thriving space industry. It's close to Vandenberg Air Force Base and UC Santa Barbara and could be home to the future permanent headquarters of the U.S. Space Command. The state is also committed to supporting the space industry in the Central Coast. In July, the state of California, Cal Poly, U.S. Space Force, and others signed a memorandum of understanding to develop a commercial spaceport at Vandenberg Air Force Base and to develop a master plan to grow the commercial space industry in the region. Governor Newsom has made a commitment to lift up all regions of the state, and this strategy will position the Central Coast to be a global leader in the future of the space industry. I'd like to leave you with a few final thoughts. With everything we're facing, fires, climate change, a pandemic, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. But I remain optimistic because I know that the people of the state of California are resilient, persistent, and determined to address our challenges and chart a path toward a better future for ourselves and our families. The growth of the space industry and the economic development potential of projects like the spaceport at Vandenberg Air Force Base are a great example of what we can look forward to. The potential for the commercial space industry to become a $3 trillion industry by mid-century, as many experts predict, is another. There are so many opportunities. New companies are going to emerge, doing things we never could have dreamed of today. As Lieutenant General John Thompson said in the first session, the next few years of space and cyber innovation are not going to be a pony ride at the state fair. They are going to be a rodeo. We should all saddle up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Eleni. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your participation and all your support to you and your staff. You guys are doing a lot of work, a lot going on in California, but cybersecurity and space as it comes together, California is playing a pivotal role in leading the world and the community. Thank you very much for your time. Okay, this session is going to continue with Bill Britton, who's the Vice President of Technology and CIO at Cal Poly, but more importantly, he's the Director of the Cyber Institute located at Cal Poly. It's a global organization looking at the intersection of space and cybersecurity. Bill, let's wrap this up. Eleni had a great talk talking about the future of cybersecurity in America and its future, the role California is playing. Cal Poly is right in the Central Coast. You're in the epicenter of it. We've had a great lineup here. Thanks for coming on. Let's put a capstone on this event.
Thank you, John. But most importantly, thanks for being a great partner, helping us get this to move forward and really changing the dynamic of this conversation. What an amazing time we're in. We had quite an unusual group, but it's really kind of the focus, and we've moved a lot of space around ourselves. And we've gone from Lieutenant General Thompson and the discussion of the acquisition and Space Force and what things are going on in the future, the importance of cyber in space. And then we went on and moved on to the operations, and we had a private company who builds. We had the DoD, Department of Defense, and their context, and NASA and theirs. And then we talked about public-private partnerships from President Armstrong, Mr. Bangu Mahad from the DoD, and Mr. Steve Jakes from the National Security Space Association. It's been an amazing conference for one thing. I've heard repeatedly over and over and over the reference to digital, the reference to cloud, the reference to the need for cybersecurity to be involved, and really how important that is to start earlier than just at the employment level, to really go down into the system, the K through 12, and start there. And what an amazing time to be able to start there, because we're returning to space in a larger capacity, and it's now all around us. And the Lieutenant Governor really highlighted for us that California is intimately involved, and we have to find a way to get our students involved at that same level.
I want to ask you about this inflection point. That was a big theme of this conference and symposium. It was throughout the interviews and throughout the conversations, both in the chat and also kind of on Twitter as well and in the social web, is that this new generation, it wasn't just space and government, DoD, all the normal stuff you see. You saw JPL, the Hewlett Foundation, the Defense Innovation Unit, Amazon Web Services, NASA. Then you saw entrepreneurs come in who were doing some stuff. And so you have this confluence of community. Of course, Cal Poly had participated in spades. You guys did a great job. But it's not just the physical face-to-face, show up, get to hear some academic papers. This was a virtual event. We had over 300 organizations attend, different organizations around the world. Being a virtual event, you had more range to get more people. This is digital. This symposium isn't about Central California anymore. It's global.
No, it really has gone global. It's really kind of interesting because at first all of this was word of mouth for this symposium to take place. And it just started growing and growing. And the more that we talked to organizations for support, the more we found how interconnected they were on an international scale. So much so that we've decided to take our cyber competition next year and take it globally as well. So if, in fact, as Major General Shaw said, This is about a multinational support force. Maybe it's time our students started interacting on that level to start with and not have to grow into it as they get older, but do it now and around space and around cybersecurity and around that digital environment and really kind of reduce the digital divide in space.
Yeah, General Thompson mentioned there's 80 countries with programs. This is like the Olympics for space. I mean, why not have these competitions? So I got great vision. I love, love that vision, but I know you have the number, or not number, the scores in from the competition this year that happened
Right.
earlier in the week. Could you share the results of the challenge?
Sure. Absolutely. We had 83 teams participate this year in the California Cyber Innovation Challenge. And again, it was based around a spacecraft scenario where a spacecraft, a commercial spacecraft, was hacked and it returned to Earth. And the students had to do the forensics on the payload. And then they had to do downstream network analysis using things like Wireshark and Autopsy and other systems. It was a really tough competition. The students had to work hard, and we had middle school and high school students participate. We had an intermediate league, new schools who had never done it before, or even some who didn't even have STEM programs, but were just signing up to really get involved in the experience. And we had our ultimate division, which was those who had competed in several times before. And the winner of that competition was North Hollywood. They've been the winning team for 4 years in a row now. It's a phenomenal program they have there. Hats off to them for competing and winning again. Now, what's really cool is not only did they have to show their technical prowess in the game, but they also have to then brief and outbrief what they've learned to a panel of judges. And these are not pushovers. These are experts in the field of cybersecurity and space. We even had a couple goons participating from DEF CON. And the teams present their findings. So not only are we talking technical, we're talking about presentation skills, the ability to speak and understand. And let me tell you, after reading all of their texts to each other over the weekend, that's a whole new language they're using to interact with each other. It's amazing. And they are so more advanced and ready to understand space problems and virtual problems than we are. We have to challenge them even more.
Well, it sounds like North Hollywood's got the franchise. It's like the Patriots, the Lakers. They got a dynasty developing down there in North Hollywood.
Well, you know what happens when there's a dynasty? You have to look for other talent. So next year we're going global and we're going to have multiple states involved in the challenge and we're going to go international. So if North Hollywood pulls it off again next year, it's going to be because they've met the best in the world and defeated.
Okay, the gauntlet's been thrown down. Got to take down North Hollywood from winning again next year. We'll be following that. Bill, great to get those results on the Cyber Challenge. We'll keep track and we'll put a plug for it on our site, so you guys get some press on that. My question to you is, now as we go in digital, the other theme was that they want to hire digital natives into the Space Force. Okay, the DoD's looking at new skills. This was a big theme throughout the conference, not just the commercial partnerships with government, which I believe they've got to put more research in personally. That's my personal opinion. They should be putting way more research into academic and these environments to get more creative. But the skill sets was a big theme. What's your thoughts on how you saw some of the highlight moments there around skill sets?
You know, John, it's really interesting because what we've noticed is in the past, everybody thinks skill sets for the engineering students. And it's way beyond that. It's all the students. It's all of them understanding what we call cyber cognizance, understanding how cybersecurity works, whatever career field they choose to be in. Space, there is no facet of supporting space that doesn't need that cyber cognizance. If you're in the back room doing the operations, you're doing the billing, you're doing the contracting, those are still avenues by which cybersecurity attacks can be successful and disrupt your space mission. The fact that it's international, the connectivities, all of those things means that everyone in that system digitally has to be aware of what's going on around them. That's a whole new thought process. It's a whole new way of addressing a problem and dealing with space. And again, it's virtual to everyone.
That's awesome. Bill, great to have you on. Thank you for including theCUBE Virtual, our CUBE event software platform that we're rolling out. We've been using it for the event, and thank you for your partnership in this co-creation, opening up your community, your symposium to the world, and we're so glad to be part of it. I want to thank you and Dustin and the team and the president of Cal Poly for including us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. It's been an amazing partnership. We look forward to it in the future.
Okay, that's it. That concludes the Space and Cybersecurity Symposium 2020. I'm John Furrier with theCUBE, your host with Cal Poly, who put on an amazing virtual presentation, brought all the guests together. And again, shout out to Bill Britton and Dustin DeBrum, who did a great job, as well as the president of Cal Poly, who let them do it all. Great event. See you soon.